Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Today we're going to talk more about the Bixident from Andor Season 2, Episode 3. I think we all know what I'm talking about here. It is the hot topic, the controversial point of, is this too mature for Star Wars? We're taking a different approach, though, because I have interview information from Tony Gilroy, as well as the actress who plays Bix.
All right.
To see what did they think about including that, because obviously they had to know it was going to cause a stir.
Oh, yeah, it has
so
caused
why
a
did they
stir.
do it? What was the thought behind the scene? That's what I like to
I'm
think
very
about.
curious. I've been very interested to hear what he has to say since, obviously, showrunner. He's the guy who decided it's a go, and Disney and Lucasfilm decided it was okay, too.
I mean, the Imperial officer tries to have his way with the rebel fugitive. Turns out she's like an undocumented citizen. There's a lot of reactions around this,
Well,
right?
there's a lot of extra things people are looking at into it as well.
Starts out as a flirtation, in which Bix almost seems a little open to, like she's trying to
be nice.
Yeah. Not really take him up on it, because right away she's like, my husband.
Well, it's also an Imperial lieutenant, so you're not like, let's piss off this guy and immediately shoot him down. And
yeah, and then it like totally culminates with this life and death struggle where she ends up having to violently kill someone who violently attacked her.
It is inappropriate for an officer of the law, essentially, to kind of assert his authority like this too. I don't want to. I've had so many people like saying, "Thor, you're not mentioning this or that." Like, nobody's saying this is good just because I don't say like it's bad because of that. Doesn't mean I disagree.
I mean, Bix doesn't leave anything to the imagination. We can't make any implication. No, he was just attacking her, because she calls out what he was attempting to do.
We know it. I mean,
there's no gray to say what was or was not happening in this scene.
No.
It's very, very not up to interpretation.
No, it's visceral. It's real.
Yes.
We know what's going on. Even if it doesn't succeed, I guess is the way to put it.
For the Star Wars franchise, which doesn't even show consensual relationships to that extent. We had a little suggest from her and Tim in Season 1, but then they hit the gas and went all in. Tony Gilroy talked to the Hollywood Reporter about what he was thinking in this, about not shying away from this, about telling this war story.
It's interesting that you point that out, that we don't see consensual in this either. I mean, it's certainly implied we have children coming out of nowhere, and Bix kind of gets dressed after
something happened to Padme.
Exactly, but I wonder if that has something to do with the adverse reaction some people are having to this, that it's just not a part of Star Wars. I mean, it is, obviously, it's implied, it's in there. The galaxy repopulates, we know what happens. But you don't really see that side of Star Wars, ever.
Right. Tony Gilroy wanted to tell his truth. So here is the quote. This is what he had to say. "I get one shot to tell everything I know, or can discover, or that I've learned about revolution, about battles, with as many incidents and as many colors as I can get in there without having the story tip over." I mean, let's be honest, man. I love how he talks. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, man. The history of civilization, there's a huge arterial component of that's assault. All of us who are here, we're the product of assault. I mean...
Quotations. Yeah.
Yes, you know what I'm saying.
He's actually saying the word just for the record.
I mean, armies in power throughout history have committed assault. So to not touch on it in some way, it was just organic. It felt right coming about as this power trip for this guy. I was really trying to make a path for Bix that would ultimately lead to clarity, but a difficult path to get back to clarity.
I mean, he's not wrong at all.
It's happened, civilization throughout the years.
Yeah. I mean,
probably happened in most wars in general, but he's not wrong. Civilization throughout the years, the culture that is the winning side of a lot of wars, these things happened.
The whole saying is assault and pillage, isn't it?
Assault and pillage.
Assault and pillage, yes.
And then they asked him about Disney's reaction to the scene, which is curious because Disney allowed this. Let's not forget it.
That's what I just said. That's maybe the most surprising part of all of this, is that Lucasfilm and Disney both, rubber stamped it and said, yeah, ship it.
So Tony says, no one ever said anything about it, ever. But I mean, we have limits on what we can do. We're very aware of what we can do sexually and violence-wise. Those limits are made very clear.
I feel like they didn't say no because they don't read the scripts, and they just...
Somebody had to sign off on it.
I know, it was...
And I'm sure somebody who read this over went to head on and was like, by the way, Disney, we have a few notes you might like to know about.
In all reality, it's not that it's not as bad as it could have been, shall we say. Again, I'm trying to
The
be
focal
delicate
point
here.
of this was supposed to be about Bix overcoming the struggles that you've been seeing her go through since last season.
It can definitely be a million. I mean, it in itself is bad. Again, trying to not anger anybody or say the wrong thing. I mean, it in itself is terrible, but it's not presented in the worst possible way you could ever see it, I suppose is what I'm saying.
But we also got to hear from Adriana, who, of course, plays Bix, about what she felt about this storyline. I mean, she's the one who had to portray this. She is the actress who had to really go and dig deep and give the performance of her life, right?
It's the whole scene works. You know what I mean? For in the context of the show, it's definitely, again, it's visceral. It feels real. It feels like something that could happen.
Right. She says things like, Bix has transformed her career in many ways, transformed me as a person. It's the first character I've ever grown with, that she's taught me a lot. And I can say for sure, she has come a long way since the actress I saw in Morbius.
She's in Morbius?
She's the love interest in Morbius.
That is how far she's come.
You don't even recognize
I don't recognize him as the same person. Wow, that's right, that is.
She also makes note in the entirety of that arc she was in that the Mina Rao episodes were literally shot over a year and a half ago. So any unintended relevance to current political affairs is, again, unrelated.
Yeah, it's coincidental.
It's coincidental, but it's Star Wars.
Yeah,
Star Wars talks about the political landscape mirroring our world going back for generations.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to get political here. It does feel like it might be a little on the nose for today, but I've tried to point that out to people too. I'm like, you do realize the show's been done and in the can since before the most recent election. So I don't know that it is meant to be like a commentary on now as much as, again, you can argue it happens to have a relation to what is going on now here in the United States.
Adriana says that too. She says, it's just mirroring that we keep stumbling on the same rock. It's one of my favorite parts about the show. It's relevant now. It's going to be relevant in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, because we keep doing the same thing.
No, she's 100%
history
right.
repeats itself. It is our doom.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at the original trilogy or the prequels and say, oh, I see mirrors in the world today. And yeah, that's kind of one of the points of Star Wars. I don't know that anybody is like mad that politics is in Star Wars. I mean, some people, maybe. I think the issue is sometimes when you want to try to make it very my side versus your side and really trying to hammer in a point is what people get upset about. They want it to be more a general statement about politics or the world.
And so let's go on to what she actually says about the issue at hand, the Bixident. I remember reading that, and within the truth of that moment of the abuse of power, being really scared to go into that scene. But there was also something, I'm going to curse, really effing powerful about the fact that I get to showcase this in a galaxy far, far away. The fact that Tony gave it to Bix was a big honor. And it was right. She's in the most vulnerable state she can possibly be in, and someone tries to take advantage of her. We've heard that story so many times.
Again, I don't know that anybody's trying to deny something like that happens. I don't think that's what the argument is against it. I think the argument is, again, is it feel right in Star Wars, of all places, where sexuality is generally, like, pushed under the rug?
Yeah, she talks about how she backslapped that officer. Yeah. She slapped him right off of her and everything. And
she kills him. Let's not forget that Bix has never killed a person before, not that we know of. Like, this is, as you pointed out in our review, like, the last time Bix had a tragic experience, she kind of crumbles when Tim dies, and then she's tortured. So this is the first, like, lashing out. This is her
standing up for herself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She said it just felt really liberating to be able to do that. I had a lot of women in my heart at that time. For any woman, for anyone, when you have a stranger, a male stranger in your own space, everything becomes survival. She said the fact that she gets to speak the word out loud, I felt so much power in that. I felt it throughout the day. I felt it when I finished filming and when I went home. The last thing she says is, I remember watching Star Wars and really wanting to transport myself into these universes, but I never really saw myself in it. So it means the world. We belong in Star Wars. The more Star Wars is expanding, the more it's becoming a mirror of our real world, and it's beautiful.
I mean, isn't that what a good story does? It mirrors something about our world, about a truth of the human nature, or the human experience.
All right, the last thing I wanted to bring up today, because it's kind of in the vein of this heavier-ish conversation and mirroring the real world. Tony Gilroy took some inspiration from a real live event, you could say, that happened during the Second World War. Really a faction of people who we
We'll call them the not see me guys.
I'm talking about the scene with Orson Krennic where he's on the snowy mountain compound area and he's talking about taking over the peaceful planet of Gorman. And he says, like, no notes, no records. None of you are here. Nobody puts this on their calendar. Your colleagues, superiors, if they're not in this room, they're not cleared for this project. The group in this room is the tightest of closed circles. That was all inspired to be reminiscent of a scene when the Third Reich plotted the final solution at Wannsee Conference in 1942. 15 members of the German High Command were plotting their extermination of millions of people. And that's kind of what they're going for. Krennic planning on how to get rid of the Gormans.
I certainly felt the vibe in that scene, especially the snowy mountaintop. Yeah,
it's similar to another convention where a bunch of people got together and planned out a final solution over a business lunch.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, even the location is meant to look similar to a couple of real-world locations that were hideouts for that particular bad group.
Not see me men.
Yes, there's two famous landmarks in particular. The Eagle's Nest, which was a famous hilltop retreat in the Alps, as well as the, I can't pronounce things, Hohenwerfen Castle. It was on a snowy hilltop outpost during the war. So he took some visual as well as some conversational clues to kind of throw that in there, and I do believe that comes across exactly the way it was meant to. Because he is planning on getting rid of an entire people on a planet because he wants it. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I write down for us to talk about for the news.
That was heavy. You guys,
these are the cards I write down
today? Anything at all from work?
Well, I'm getting really good scores in solitaire. It's been really quiet at work, and so I sometimes will sneak around on my computer and play cards.
Well,
sometimes talk to people on Discord when I'm not supposed to be. Supposed to be working.
Yeah, I saw you popping up a lot in there today.
Well, I popped in there even more when we were talking about Andor on, like, Wednesday.
You pop up in there a lot. I always wonder what you actually do at work.
What
do you actually do around here? All right, well, that is going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news, and let's talk some Star Wars. And so, until next time, thanks for watching.
Bye now.